Um, we are going to discuss a very, 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 very important um, topic here, and which is about, thank you, Lamin, thank you, about the port concession between the Gambia government and Albayrak, a Turkish company. And the it's it's um it's surprising that people are just silent about this contract. I believe the reason might be, I am not excusing the oversight. I'm excusing some us citizens that we are so much desperate for development. We are so much desperate for development. And once it's announced that a contract is signed, all we anticipate is to see the structures and of that contract, I mean, for that project to be erected and so on and so forth. Apart from the outrage I've noticed from some Banjulians because of their heritage, they believe it's been dismantled. Apart from that, I have not seen any sort of an outrage. Recorded a program with Freedom on this topic, and it played yesterday on Freedom Radio. It was an interview with Alaji Salu in Wolof, and I said, due to the importance of this topic, I will come and have the conversation here as well on Facebook Live in English, so that my non-Wolof speakers will benefit from our opinion, and for those who too might have missed it from Freedom or don't follow Freedom, will have the opportunity to be part of this discussion. Let me just make a disclaimer. I am not against development of our port. I am not against the government going into contract with private entities or foreign entities. I am not against all that. But what this program would be about what is its contract, what are we getting ourselves into? What did the government get us into? Because of the importance of this project and the long term, short to long term, medium to long term. What does it mean for our sovereignty? What does it mean for our development? These are things that I want to discuss. And unfortunately, we haven't got the contract itself, but we have a newspaper publication, which obviously the people that publish it got it from the contractors, either the government or the Turkish company. And I think we have enough details from there to see how bad this is. But to say this, just from what we have seen, it's very bad. And I know that if a company or the government puts out something, they will try to put out the best of what they have. Then we should really be critical and really be worried. What did they keep away from us? And I have not had this been discussed in Parliament in detail, the contract, I mean, of what we get ourselves into. I have not had the oppositions discuss this in public or to raise any alarms. But I want to do it on records. I've done it on Freedom in Wolof, but I want to capture it in English as well. Because I am certain that this contract, this project is coming back to haunt us. It's going to come back to haunt the Gambian people. And again, a disclaimer, I am not an expert in project management, in writing of contracts or anything else. But it doesn't take to be an expert in some of these issues to allow you to discuss it. It takes a little bit of, obviously, research and study, and which we did. And when I read the article, because I was actually looking forward to see the details of this project, because when the project was mentioned earlier, I had discussed it with friends, and we had actually conducted a field research in the project, the company projects in Guinea-Conakry, in Somalia, and so on. And I can tell you, I mean, it's not something that was applauded. Airport project and a port project. It's not something that was applauded. And secondly, too, it's a trend going on. If it's a trend going on right now, if you are really following economic development projects in Africa, you will you hear about this controversy of the Indians, the Turkish, the Chinese, the World Bank, the IMF, actually taking up or taking up sovereign properties, getting into contracts. Recently, Kenya is having the same problem with their airports and their seaports. They're trying to, I mean, technically hand it over, just as we are doing now. And Sri Lanka and other places had gone through this. And the problem is our politicians are not only lazy, but our politicians are corrupt and absolutely corrupt. And when I discussed this with two people who have expertise in this sort of ventures, one is resident in the UK here who works at a very senior level, corporate level, and this is what he does in and out. The other person works, right now, that other person is in the Gambia and runs a consultancy, and obviously that person did work in at corporate level, negotiating contracts, writing contracts, and implementing projects, and so managing projects and implementing them. And they agreed with my observation, and they educated me even more of how bad the contract, the concession that the Gambia government have got themselves into. But further down, again, you ask yourself, why would the government get themselves into this? Why the people, the authority, the technocrats that would design or would be, signing the contracts or advising government have it wrong? And this is the typical case that we always have. We have from very reliable contacts that actually the Turkish company got this contract via the First Lady. And in fact, not only the First Lady, but Sidinjai did play a part as well. And if people keep on thinking, or how comes these people have access to this much wealth in a short period? It's not about the lump big of salary they are paid and the allowances. It's not that. That's just for their lifestyle. And it's not even, it's just supporting the lifestyle, but not exactly covering entirely all. It's the kickbacks. Sidinjai have become one of the biggest gatekeepers to get you to Barrow and the First Lady and so on and so forth. But again, there's another point. The point I want to raise now is to talk about this port, the Banjul port. As I said, I support the development of the port. Obviously, it's part of our national, part of our strategic development plan. And but it's the way and manner it's been they're getting themselves into. But again, part of this discussion, we will look at the broader economy. Do we really have an economic strategy? Because it will have to fit in there. And we'll realize part of this problem is the government, President Barrow, is just motivated. And this is what is happening. The ministers knew that they're doing something wrong. But because of that's what President Barrow wants, that's what they're going to do. And this is where the problem lies. And it's not to our interest, and we'll see that that's why we don't, if we have a blueprint or we call it a national development plan, it's just on paper. It's not what we follow. They follow a personal development plan. This is why we have problem with this. A little bit of context here, history of the Banjul port. obviously no, it's a very important part of our economic infrastructure. But not only the economic infrastructure is part of our sovereign infrastructure. It defines our sovereignty. And to make this very clear, when the Gambia, the founding fathers went to discourse about our independence, the viability of our independence, when the colonial masters did not were not encouraging us to seek for independence, but they were trying to push us to go for regional integration with Senegal or sort of. And the founding fathers who went to negotiate for this independence made a declaration that they want to go into this negotiation with an open mind. But if whatever the case, if they conclude that they want to, they prefer to have a federation or any sort of integration with Senegal at that time, they want to keep a Gambian identity to survive, or to have this independent sovereignty to survive. And in a nutshell, what they said was they demand from the colonial master to guarantee that we'll have a seaport, and part of our seaport, and a seaport and an airport, international airport and an international seaport. Do these two things because of that defined sovereignty, and economic sovereignty and national sovereignty for that matter. If you have these two, you are part of a global organization, be it maritime or aviation. But and the other thing they said, not only a port, but with the facilities so that goods can be taken by along the River Gambia to the sub-region, and to bring produce from the hinterlands, from the provinces to the urban area. This was, as a concept for a national development plan, but was a concept for sovereignty as well. It's that important. The other part I want to touch on brief is the economic development plan of the PPP. When they in the night after the recessions, the ERP, the recession we went through and everything else, when they draw out a development plan, part of it was to what they coined as the Singapore of West Africa, or the other one was the supermarket of West Africa. And the port and the airport were to serve a very strategic, critical role. And the seaport was to be transformed to become a to have a free zone capacity, so that light factories and others would operate within the free zone. Component, and the same thing with the airport. And in the early 90s, by 1992, it was when the Chinese actually started to expand the port and build the anchors today. The anchors that we are using today were built in 1992. And that's when the port development program started. And obviously, not only the port and the airport was part of the development program that they were going to unveil, but again, Gambia too was going to be the plans among it was Gambia to be a financial center, in a sense, like a tax haven and so on and so forth. This is what the plan was, and we all know what happened after. When the port was developed in 1992, the bulk of trade going to the sub-region, quadrupled. And by 1994, things started to go south, and all the problems we have now. Since then, the past government to present government, they struggle to continue this project until now that the borough government have finally signed this contract with the Albayrak Group, which is a Turkish company. Again, let's move on to explain this economic development, the strategic development plan. And to give a context, you see, as every country does, but especially the developed countries, be it the West or the East, we call them, or South, these countries we call them, especially now Turkey and others. We can see the presence of Turkey in the Gambia, how huge it is now, from car power to this contract here, which is a major contract. But again, we have seen the same thing in the sub-region. We have seen them in Senegal, the airport in Senegal and others, done by Turkish company. And we have seen that the coast of West Africa now is all littered with car power or ships, generator ships all over to supply energy. And all of these are Turkish companies. Do we sit down and wonder how comes Turkey is just getting into all this? If you check in Libya now, in Libya, in Somalia and other countries, you will see how much, geostrategically how Turkey is controlling economy and others. But it's part of their economic development plan. They open up their their markets by using their soft diplomacy. This is where they come in to say, we train your soldiers, we train your police, we give them uniforms, we give them vehicles, we give them that. This is what they get back, so that they can get their foot in. And obviously the other part is to corrupt, to bribe, to get these contracts done. And in most cases, the sad part is when they do these deals, it's always to their advantage. Because for the developing countries like the Gambia, because of the leaders, the politicians love their country less, and the technocrats love their country less, and they will do whatever the politicians want for them to have a little bit of share of the kickbacks, or to secure their jobs and to travel, to abuse, and to be part of an elite class. They will encourage this sort of contracts. Now, let me just go on to the article itself that we are going to work from. Hence, we haven't seen the contract yet, but we'll have enough from the article and to discuss. If you bear me a minute, the article it's produced by Frederick Tendeng from GambiaJ.com, the paper GambiaJ.com, and I'm just going to take 3 extracts of from the article, and one of the extracts reads. I'll just read the first extract. The government of the Gambia and the Gambia Ports Authority will receive payment from the gross revenue for both Banjul and Sanyang. These payments will come in the form of dividends as a shareholders, and all staff involved in the operations will be maintained. The Basse and the Kaur inland and logistic platforms will also be developed as part of the project. If you listen to this properly, what do we get from this? The contract does not only cover the Banjul port, no. It covers the Sanyang port, it covers the inland ports and logistic platforms in Kaur and Basse. What this is telling us that the entire port network for our country, our sovereignty, is be handed over to a Turkish company. This is one very important point to note. How comes we hand over as a sovereignty a port network, the entire port network, to one company from Turkey? That's first point to note. And the other point is to note that obviously it's a concession that we are going to be paid dividend. But the contract have started, but they have not, from their publication, they have not listed what percentage of dividend the Gambia is going to receive. This is why we said we want access to the contract, and we expected our politicians, we expected the parliament, expected civil society to rise up and demand the contract so that we can see what these people have let us in. First, it's not a wise strategy. It's not a good strategy, wise idea. It's not wisdom to put all your eggs in one basket, as the saying goes. Why did we allow a single company to take over everything that a country owns? Something strategic as a port. This is one point that we need to note and think about and be worried for. The other point is dividends. We Gambians need to know what we're going to get from this. What are we going to get from this? This is something that we need to know before anything else, that this decided arrangements. And the other point that we need to think about, which another extract from the article, they said, meanwhile, the government of the Gambia, through GPA, has begun a 6-month time span to negotiate with Albayrak on the shareholders agreement. They have started the contract. They are telling us the contract is already started. We have seen the company out there demolishing. But the publication said that meanwhile, the government of the Gambia, through GPA, has begun a 6-month time span to negotiate with Albayrak on the shareholder agreement. How you allow the contract to be consumed? It's like you said, okay, and let's get married, consume the marriage, and we can finalize the agreement of our marriage. This is what they're trying to tell us. If the contract, we all thought that contract would have to have a comprehensive agreement. It's a comprehensive agreement, contract of this nature, where everything is noted down. Key things are noted down, that this is what we agree on, this is what you're going to pay. And it's the same thing as you have a property. You go into a contract with someone for the property. You hand over the property. You agree that person to run the property and everything, but you have not agreed on the price or the percentage that person is going to give you. But after the person take over, you are going to go into 6 months period to negotiate for what is due to you. That's why I said you keep on asking who would sign a contract like this. Obviously, the person who signed the contract like this, or person who facilitated the contract like this to be signed, are people that are benefiting personally and don't care about what happens to the country or the people that they serve it, that entrust them to look after their interests. Instead of looking at the people's interests, they are looking at their interests. That's why they signed this. If it was a personal property, they would not have gone into a contract of this nature. And make you wonder again, why are we not in our showing our outrage on something like this? It continued. The extract continued. This included addressing detail regarding the number of seats GPA will occupy on the board of directors, the management positions available to Gambians and GPA employees, and other staff considerations. They again, the contract is on. They sign on the contract is on. But part of what they agreed, they have not agreed what positions the Gambia is going to occupy as a nation, or Gambians are going to occupy. That's going to be determined later within the 6-month span. Then, have you not lost everything? Now, who is going to determine this? The talkers obviously would do. Why would they sign on this? Why did they not wait to everything to be completed before they sign on it? They will not do that, because of the talkers are the one controlling the contract. Why would the talkers be controlling the contract? Because of the bribery, kickbacks, these technocrats and the Barrow government have got us into. The other thing we should read within, in this is, we are going to hand over Banyan Port. we are going to hand over Banjul Port. This is our only port that is functional, and these people will have to use our port in order to build another port. Let's move on to the other extract. In fact, key members of the board of directors okay, let's move on. Let's discuss this first. Now, the Banjul port is functional. It's making millions of dollars. And I can tell you that if it was run properly, efficiently, and stopping all the leakages, would have probably even double the income it's doing now, probably. Now you decide to take this lucrative venture, the port services, and pass it to a foreign company, and for that foreign company to run it, and if that foreign company run it, it's going to run it very efficiently, and make sure all the loopholes are tightened, leakages are plugged, and the revenue would go up, and from that revenue, they're going to build Sanyang Port in 6 years. One, they have access to income coming, even though they said they're going to take a loan. But remember again, you already gave them the port. You already gave them a port. They have in revenue, and now they're going to use that port and that contract to go and seek for that loan from Turkey itself. Because of a Turkish bank would be financing this called an Exim Bank. Exim Bank of Turkey will be financing this. That's how they finance their contracts. Means that every profit and everything will be repatriated to Turkey. Now, the money, money we expect, to gain, God knows what would it be, because of the contract was negotiated, right? Why would we take the ports and give it to a company to run? And that company, from there on, they will build another port in Sanyang. But already any income that comes after this contract set up and they occupy the office, they're going to manage that income. This is our port. They haven't done anything there yet. And from the money that comes in, that's where they're going to be developing. And from the contracts and concession and all documents they're going to use to guarantee a loan, and because of it's a sovereign, they sign a contract with a sovereignty. In order to deliver this. If that's the case, why didn't we contract them to go and build Sanyang? We continue to run our port very efficiently, to seal off all the loopholes, the leakages and everything to maximize the income, and able to invest in other things that we invest, and let them build Sanyang Port. And once they finish Sanyang Port, they manage Sanyang Port until the time we agree for them to give it back. Why didn't we do that? Why did we give them our port? Because of these technocrats and politicians are not looking for our interests. Would any of those technocrats or politicians agree that they're an asset they own, they will give to Mr. Sam or whoever it is, in agreement that Mr. Sam runs the asset, the whatever it is, and in 6 years they will give you give them another property of yours. In 6 years they build that property and they will run that property again. And when Mr. Sam is running this property you gave them, your family members and everything, their position and everything will not be determined until they take over everything, and then you negotiate in 6 months, you negotiate this. This is what we got ourselves into. This is what they got us into because of their personal interests. It's not for the national interest. The other thing is, as I said, the Turkish will benefit more. If the Gambia, even if that's not the case, if we don't give them Sanyang, okay, do Sanyang, go and take your loan and do Sanyang. Let them take the risk to build Sanyang. Let them go and acquire their loan and everything. But no, now we are giving the Banjul port, we are signing a contract, and that contract is going to be used to acquire the loans. The other part is, if that is the case, a company will come in for us to give them all this. Why didn't we do it ourselves? Why did the Gambia government not think of signing? We can sign different sort of contracts with different companies to do different things. We can raise the money in different ways, because these people are even going to raise the money from Turkey. And apart from the money they raise from operating our Banjul port, the loans are going to be taken from Turkey. Why the government not think of a sovereign bond, diaspora sovereign bond, that the diaspora would buy shares in that operations? I can tell you the reason why. We have seen this practice done in Ethiopia. Ethiopia have raised part of, I didn't say everything, part of the funds they needed to build their dam. Part of that was built using diaspora bonds. Give ownership to their citizens. Diaspora bonds. Diaspora bonds can be raised, shares can be raised from Gambian companies. Gambians within Gambia that have the means to buy the shares, and these things could have been done. No. Now we wonder why the dollar depreciates. We wonder why the dollar depreciates. Everything we have now, we are selling or mortgaging to foreign companies. When the foreign companies make interest, profits, they take it back to their countries. That's why their government supports them. The Indian government support Indians to come and establish in the Gambia, to run business and everything, and they make a lot of money. That money is change. Yes, they can sell you their goods and everything in dollars, but once they get the dollars, they have to turn it to foreign currency, and these people are not even sending it through the bank in this thing. They are exporting it. They are smuggling it out of the country, and this is a fact. Nando's son is arrested in Dubai for carrying money, a lot of money. And from Dubai, it was going to go to India. The Turkish are doing the same thing. Other countries are doing the same thing. Now, if you give all these contracts, you give all, selling everything and giving it to foreigners, what do you expect? And if I say foreigners here, I'm not picking on Gambian residents, foreigners. I mean foreign companies. Foreign companies. What are we doing? And we keep on wondering, why the dollar is depreciating? Because we are not managing our economy. Because the economy is managed for the interest of Barrow and people around. Now they are buying properties everywhere because of the kickbacks. It's not the salary and the allowances. The ministers, I'm not saying all ministers, most of the crook ministers, most of these crooks, technocrats, the crook politicians, the money they make, it's not the salary and allowances. Yes, as lofty or this thing it is, it's not much. Some of his salaries, I know, in Gambian terms, 100 and something thousand, over £2,000. In Gambian terms, it's a lot of money. But that would not have given them properties in Europe and other places, where these people don't even take a mortgage. They buy it out because of the kickbacks they get from car powered contract like this and other contracts similar, or they give out the OIC contracts and so on and so forth. They buy properties in Senegal. No, now they're going to Morocco. Now they're going to Turkey and other places. Most of the managing directors now have property in Canada. Their children are sent to university in Canada. They live in their dad's properties. Corruption is worse. This is the situation in the port development. And let's look at the other the extract in the port development. The other extract says, in fact, key members of the board of directors of the Gambia Port Authority, under the stewardship of Matar Cisse of the Minister of Transport, were last week on a 5 5-day visit to Ghana to study best practice on operations, knowledge, and decision-making process in managing port concession and landlord responsibility from the Ghana Port and Harbour Authority. You already signed a contract. I thought you seek this knowledge before you go into negotiation. But you already signed the contract, then you decided to send these people on a 5-day. I tell you what, they are very competent Gambians in this sort of negotiations, be it port, be it the other things all over the. If this government was serious, they would have got those people to help out. But no, they will keep it to themselves so that they will do what they do, and these contracts will literally come out from government, from the contract, the foreign company to do what they do. And this everything would be to the advantage of the foreign company. You see, as I said, what I'm reading here is what has been put in the press. This is not even the contract document itself. This is not, in fact, the contract document itself. This is part of what they took out to put to the press. And you know, if a government or the contract, the foreign company put misinformation out there, it's called public relations. They put the best as this thing, and I can tell you, if this is part of the best, let's wonder what is behind the scenes. Because there are things called contract clause. There are contract clause. And this contract clause can be very detrimental, just as we find out with Secure Report. The Secure Report came out the same way. They went through the First Lady, they went through Barrow, and Barrow give directives. And all the civil servants that took part in it, yeah, they did recommend, oh, this is not good, sir, but they said, I want it. And they delivered it. Now, the security port, that's the fee levy we paying at the airport. That's how it came about. But we find out that there's a clause in the contract which says that they have to earn this much. If they don't earn that much, they will have to either compensate it or they extend the contract. This is why when they did not start the contract in time, Gambia have to pay them, or Gambia had to allow them to extend the contract. Why did we sign all this? This is our property. This because of the interest is not about our nation. And as I introduced earlier, this is not new. You see, until we start to make sure we write contracts, make sure we do things, projects to our interests, our sovereign interests. Again, we go back to Senegal. We could learn from Senegal. The stadium, one of the stadiums, I don't know which one, was built by a Turkish company. Today, Senegal is paying so much money, and that stadium is not bringing out nothing, technically. Their motorways. If the motorway, if the income from the motorway, a French company, the income from the motorway is not to a certain amount, Senegalese government had to pay, put in more. Their train services, if they did not earn that much, Senegal had to pay. Now, almost everything that we call development in Senegal, it's not development. In fact, it strangled the country into debt. And we have seen who benefited. The 1% in Senegal benefited. You go to Kermassar, you go to Pekin, you go to Guédiawaye, you go to almost every place. I mean, guess what? Poverty is as they comes. What impact did this development have on these people? Because it was not strategy. Because the Africans like to celebrate big projects. But the impact of the projects, that's not what we assess. But no, they know that. Because of the way the contract is consumed. The soft diplomacy, they call it soft, I call it hard diplomacy. France wants something, our politicians do. Morocco wants something, our politicians. Turkey wants something, our politicians do. China wants something, our politicians do. IMF wants something, our politicians. World Bank wants something, our politicians do. They do it for that. And the worst is China and all the other countries, they get it because of not only soft diplomacy, but again, the kickbacks that come with these projects. I mean, in many other forms. And the technocrats, politicians should make it happen. But development does not happen. That's why we keep on getting poorer, because we are not investing areas we need to invest, or if we invest, we don't invest it wisely, properly, we don't look after it. And in a nutshell, this is what we are facing with this port project. And I said I am putting it out here, especially in the English language, because I know it's coming back to haunt us, and we are going to get this. But I hope that I'm not holding my breath, the opposition, the parliament will raise this up, and this contract will be produced and renegotiated properly. As per the extract we have seen, it's not good for us. And guys, this will lead us to our second topic. The second topic is about the Gambia government, let's say my brother Ahmad Ba, announcing plans to build 200,000 affordable houses for citizens amid rising cost of rent. You see, as I always say, this is what Ahmad Ba is good for. But this government, for that matter, they do things knowing that they get away with it. They come and make statements knowing that Gambians forget easily. This is what they calculate. Because this government have promised so many things. Nothing have happened with that. They don't even have a proper policy for that. But they will say it because Gambians will feel better, or they will think that, oh, they address that, let's move on. And if any other Gambian comes out, other Gambians will say, oh no, you're just against the government. But I keep on saying, not only what they say, when they say something, we have to look at the possibility of those things happening. We hold them accountable. But again, history have taught us that things that they say is not what they do. Then what we have to do is, to be wise, is let's watch what they do, not what they say. Ahmad Ba moving to lands, I tell you, Abasanyang, as we find out, moving away from being sacked, is because of he have not shared proceeds with Barrow. That's the only reason. Barrow does not punish anybody because of they break the law or they're corrupt or anything. No. He punished them because of he have not take part in that one. If you keep on putting him in it, you'll not be sacked. Just as this Usman Ba been sacked. If Usman was with Barrow doing deals, you will not be sacked. All these people working and making sure Barrow gets his kickback from Silla and others, they are not sacked. They can do what they want. And Ahmad will come and say these things. And I'll tell you one thing. Don't be surprised. Ahmad going to lands is about local governance, because local governance is very important in their trying to entrench themselves. And I said because Barrow trusts him for that. And the other thing is, what I mean is about the chiefs, alcalos, and all those politics and so on. That's what. But the other main thing is about the land, lucrative land. There's a land that's been taken over from Jamjamme, from the one from GPMB, Banjul towards the cemetery. You know that fence. I'm saying it here today. If you see any development on that land, know that Ahmad Ba and Barrow have given it over. And this is what is happening. The company that gave Macky Sall his property in Morocco are in negotiation. I know of that company in negotiation, but there might be other companies. If it turned out to be another company, they gave the land. Don't say that, oh, Ben had that wrong. No. I am saying that company is in negotiation. A Moroccan company is in negotiation. But other companies are in negotiation for that bridge front. This is from GPMB, that fence Yaya put there to the others. Listen, they are in negotiation for that land. In exchange, Amadba is in negotiation with the Moroccan company, with other companies, but for the Moroccan companies, I know in exchange for the kickbacks, it's a property for him and Barrow in Morocco. That's ongoing. If you see any development there, don't be surprised it's going to happen. All this, bluff that Amadba is putting on, I'm doing this. No. They are recalibrating, trying to put everything in context so that they can push to put in their deals. You see, if you realize something about this government, they know that 2026 is a deciding moment. They try to enrich themselves as much as possible. They're selling almost everything now. Next minute is the airport. They try taking everything they can. The land now, most lucrative land they're going to take. Barrow is rebuilding a retirement home from property taken from government, worth millions. Now, Amadba coming to talk about Kamalo and all these things is a distraction. Just as the statement Amadba made about building 200,000 homes is a distraction. It's not true. It's not real. And I'll get into it. What came out, just a minute. I'm reading from this article. The Gambia government has announced plans to build 200,000 affordable houses for citizens and amid rising cost of rent. Responding to the question in Parliament, Land Minister Ahmad Ba told lawmakers, we want to build affordable houses for Gambians. We have requested 200,000 homes in the next 10 years. We are starting with 10,000 houses by December 2025. Can you just think about this? How much is 200,000 homes? 200,000 homes. 10,000 homes before December. It will be the 7th month of the year. 7th month of the year. Between here, now, and December, he's going to build 10,000. Which responsible person would say that? Put something like that, and he gets away with it. And you criticize it now. Some people say, oh no, look, government will then criticize. Because we are not stupid. We'll criticize it. Because it's a lie. It's not true. It's impossible. What does it take to build that amount of homes? Not about the money only. You don't just build the home anywhere you want. You have to get the land first. And I can tell you, I know we drive around, we see some bushes around. Many of those places we think are bushes or owned by government are already owned by someone else. Owned by someone else. If you walk into that bush, you see the pegs. They bank it. There are a lot of areas in the compound where they're going to build it. Because there's no infrastructure that makes sense. If they want to build it down the Fonyi, I'm not saying that we Fonyinkas, yes, I'm part Fonyinka, that we don't want this. But let's be serious. If you build it there, with civil servants going to travel from Fonyi to this thing, it's possible, but do we have the infrastructure? How much it costs for them to travel back and forth? We have not built these infrastructures. As I said, this is the problem because there's no economic development plan. And if you have to build it anywhere, you have to consider the most difficult part is the water. The water. In the Congo, we know the crisis we have already with water. You think of building 10,000 homes. This is from, you are not going to stop anybody else to build what they want to build, but you are going to additionally put 10,000 homes. The amount of water, infrastructure and everything else. There's so many questions about this. But when we go through what he said, it's easier to see that it's a lie. Now, he said the government will engage the UN Habitat, Shelter Africa and Badia to mobilize funds for the project. This guy is giving you a date in December for 10,000 homes, but he has not even contacted people to finance it yet. But he assumes, bro, mind your life, Facebook. Well, later. Sorry, guys. The guy have not engaged the financial partners yet. Have not even yet. How long does it take to discuss this, negotiate? But even if you go to the financial partners, you just don't go to them, this is what I want to do. You don't go to them that this is what I want to do. You have to bring to them something viable. This is what I have. I have the land bank here. This is costing you do all this. It does not take a day to do that. It does not take a month to do it. It takes months. Needed to be validated. Different agents have to work in. Different have to work in order for you to take that to the financiers. But you have not even spoke to the financiers yet. You haven't done all this. But you're telling us in December 10,000 homes. You know, respectable. You think that why should we question? This is if any respected country, any country that people their leaders are respected, you dare not go to parliament and say something like this and get away with it. You don't even do it because they know that people know that you are lying and they hold up to it. You don't go out that house without them holding you to that. Because why you will think, why would he go to parliament and lie there? December is just around the corner. He will not do that. No, he will do that. The same government in 2019 said to you that they're going to create 300,000 jobs in fisheries. A political rally in Burfoot. That Barrow said he's going to build a factory with Spanish companies. He said 300,000 jobs. When we opposed it, Gambians thought, oh, we are just against Barrow. A factory, 300, what sort of factory now take that much people? 300,000 people? A factory? Common sense. Where's the factory? Where are the 300,000 jobs? After the elections, they say that they have a policy for how many thousand jobs? Since the election till now, did you hear anything again? No, because they know they will get away with it. They say anything, time comes and Gambian will forget about it. That's why Ahmad Ba will have the audacity to tell you that in December, by December, he's going to build 10,000 houses. But he has not speak to the financiers, he has not mobilized the land, he has not done anything. But he will come out and tell you that. Let's continue and hear what he said. He continued. Because he said the government will engage the UN Habitat, Shelter Africa and Badia to mobilize funds for the project. He has not mobilized the funds yet. But he continued again to say, what we have left to do is to design the project, have the concept note and the cost. The guy does not have a concept note. He has not had a concept note yet. It's just in his head. Concept note means to put it down. He has not have a concept note. It's only in his head. He's telling Parliament it's going to happen by December. Is it going to be magic? 10,000 homes will be by December. He have not. It's not me saying it. It's Ahmad Ba telling parliamentarians, and they let him get out of the parliament with a statement like that. He said, what we have left to do is. Imagine what we have left to do is, it's only the finishing. We have built the house, we have built everything. you would have expect to hear what we have to do is, get the contractors to access the land, but not develop the concept note and design the project. You have not developed a concept note, you have not designed a project. How are you going to deliver 10,000 homes by December? Do you know why? Because of, they have seen what happened in Kenya. They have seen people starting to come out, demonstrating for the Justice Bill and others. And people are crying out the rent. People are crying out rice and everything. He said, okay, let me throw something about the rent. Another thing is, people are talking about people are talking about President Barrow being given a land, not a land, a property. What, almost 10 million probably. And everything, let me just throw this, Ahmad Bah, and I am the champion. But there's nothing physical, there's nothing there to guarantee this. He said, what we have left to do is to design the project, have the concept note and the cost. They haven't even got a cost. Then how you know that you can deliver this? He said, adding that the Minister of Finance has also invited the IFC to support the creation of a housing mortgage bank in the Gambia, which will facilitate the housing vision. Housing mortgage bank. And that's another problem. See, if the government did not manage a proper economy, the depreciation of the dollar, you know the effect of the depreciation of that dollar? Let's just look at the cost of energy. NAWEC are in serious problem. NAWEC, the amount of money NAWEC have to spend to pay Senelec, to pay car power in dollars or whatever foreign currency is. But the money they have to spend to buy spare parts, because they are not manufactured in the Gambia, and other costs that government have to do. Once the dollar depreciates, it's a far, it touches the broader economy. But again, for everything we import, cost, that's why the costs keep on going. But again, why do we have this problem? Because of the government is not creating wealth. They're not investing where it create wealth. When they design contracts and everything, they leave Gambians out of it. You think if they were giving contracts to Gambians and organizing Gambians to buy shares and stuff like that, Gambians become wealthy, the dollar becomes powerful. Because the wealthier a Gambian is, the more the Gambian spend in his country, diversify, reinvest, and so on and so forth, employ more people. That's why people are not being employed. The broader economy have to be right in order for these things to right. Now, look at the salaries of Gambians. A bank to give you a mortgage. For what percent? And how long that mortgage is going to last? How many Gambians would enter the job market? And in 30 years, they're still. Go and look at how much our head teachers are earning by the time of retirement. Go and see how much our nurses are earning at the time of retirement. Go and see some of our senior NCOs in the police, in the army, are earning at the time of retirement. And this should be our middle class. We don't have a middle class. It's so-called corrupt class and the rest at the bottom. How are they going to pay a mortgage? How long? You see, this is fantasy. Because finance, we are going to get a bank. There are banks out there. Another bank come in. You think that bank is going to do it for charity? You think that bank is going to do it for charity? They are expecting interest. And the way the economy performs, who? What market? How many people? He continued. The member for Busumbala Mohamed Kande asked the minister to explain the availability of reserve land for residential areas, arguing that the minister is making a political statement and trying to avoid answering on the availability of government reserve lands and what steps he is taking to address those state reserve lands that have been tampered with. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And the answer would not surprise. Also, as demanded by NAMS, the minister provided a list of government layouts allocated since 2017, but said he need time to compile the list of benefactors. I mean, as I said, it's not serious. It's not a serious statement. I mean, that land. I mean, none of these things have been done. But the other thing I need to do is, I took this from on Facebook. I can't remember who put it together. This I'm not just to give you another context. The guy said, breaking it down or breaking news, Hamadba illusionary 200,000 housing units to be built in 8 years, starting December 2025. This guy is just showing the mathematical impossibility of building these properties. He continued to say, 200,000 housing units in 8 years. So let's examine the facts to show people in mathematical terms what that means. 200,000 housing units in 8 years equal to 25,000 houses units per year. Every year they will have to build 25,000 houses. He continued. 25,000 houses unit per year. That equals to 2,000 houses unit a month. Every month will be 2,000. 2,000 houses. From in a year, if you have to build 25,000 houses, every month will be 2,000 houses. 2,000 houses units per month is equal to 500 houses units per week. What speed? China can do it, but to what cost? What result? He continued. Obviously, from 2,000 houses per month, that will equal to building 500 houses units per week. Building 500 houses unit per week equal to 71 houses units per day. Every day you have to build 71 houses. 71 houses every day. To build every day 71 housing units per a day, you have to build 71 houses. You have to build 71 houses units per day equal to 1 housing unit per hour. 1 housing unit per hour. You know that now, Ahmad Bhai just plug this number, and just made this statement, political statement, and move on. It's sad that we have a government that does not care, that thinks that they can come out and say anything they want to the people, and they get away with it. That's why we are appealing. The reason we spend our time to discuss this is to educate ourselves, to know that if we have got to a level that they are selling everything and they're making all these promises, they have made all these promises, it will never come to fruit. But the evidence we have that that 1%, we see them how wealthy they become, or rich, or whatever you call it, and the rest are suffering. The economy is not being managed. The prices are going up and everything. You see, Barrow have raised his rent is going up, and Barrow have raised his company have raised rent on one of the document receipts we saw for 115%. Some people say 110%. Over that, that's what Barrow is doing. He knows, but he doesn't care. Then we have to care. I mean, give you an example. Affordable housing, if it's a government policy, it is achievable. But the government have to be determined to deliver that. There might be many ways to doing it. But at present moment, if you think of how much can be deducted on any, even from director level, how much you can deduct from their salaries to pay a mortgage for a modest standard home, technically it's impossible. But as I said, if government is determined, there are many ways that it could be done. But the corruption have to be stopped. The wastage have to stop. All this travel wastage have to stop, and they have to invest in the productive sector. They have to make sure all these contracts we sign and anything else we do it in a way that wealth will be created. We have to create wealth in order to do this. If we expect that companies will come from outside and deliver this, it's a lie. The IMF cannot do it for us. World Bank will not do it. Any other of these countries will not do it for us. China have their sovereign wealth project. That's why they have the Exim Bank of China, India Exim Bank, Turkey Exim Bank, and that's why you see them, they export their nationals, they export their companies, they go and get lucrative contract, they bring the proceeds back. But African countries will give them all this. Why can't we start to work, take our time, work and develop? Just to say that, oh, we have the skyscrapers, or we have the roads, or we have this, or we have this. How did we acquire this? What cost? At what cost? For the 50 years to come, our children will be burdened with this debt. They will never have the money to put into agriculture. They will never have the money to put it into education. They will never have the money to put it into other areas. This is where the priorities should be. Yes, we will develop the infrastructure to, part of our strategic development plan. We will cost it in a way that it will not put us in a corner that we're not able to do the most important things, our hospital and others. We go and take loans and build all these mighty hospitals when nurses are not paid properly, when the doctors are not paid properly, when there are no equipments, there are no free orders. What we expect? The corruption is so bad that every contract now it gets into the kickbacks are going to the president, and you expect now to deliver. You can change managing directors as much as you want until the political leadership is ready to do the right thing. NAWEC would not deliver. And if you cannot guarantee that delivery of energy, the scam, another scam that so-called Dr. Tangara coming out to say that he had a conference with Elon Musk on this thing for nonsense. Nonsense. Elon Musk will sit online, Gambia project to do what? You know what Elon Musk think of investment? And where? Tangara, because of he wants to get Gambian support for his so-called dreams to become a Commonwealth Secretary General. He have to come with that scam, and Gambians are buying that scam. Newspapers are printing that scam. Common sense cannot tell us that Elon Musk will not. Why would Elon Musk sit down with a foreign affairs minister to talk about what? Project development? Where's the Minister for Digital Affairs? And even that, what? You see, this, we have to be serious. Guys, it's taking longer than I planned. It's just going over the 1 hour mark. But people that, those that came late can follow up from the beginning. We spoke about the port concession with the Albayrak Turkish company, and the housing units, so-called housing units, promised by Ahmad Ba. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good evening. Jërëjëf.